Welcome to Seer and Herself, the Decree. So this series is getting there. And this decree is the Voodoo Doll Spells Decree. It sounds pretty out there, but actually, it's not. So this is part 21 of the decree series, and this is chapter 1. So welcome. I hope you're all well. I'm Elaine. The intention of the Voodoo Doll Spell Decree. Well, it's actually spells with an S because there's so many spells. Actually, there's more than one. Okay, so we're bringing Source's golden light in. We're bringing inspiration and freedom. So that is the intention of this decree. So the Voodoo Doll Spells Decree may be for you if you have found that you are around people or have relationships that are so extreme and where you don't even understand them yourself and you feel confused or you feel mixed and maybe you don't even like the people but they can't seem to leave or you can't seem to leave, but it feels like you're not able to separate. So, and this decree, we're going to go at a deeper level of change, and we're working directly with what your body is holding. So when we do receive the insight, you're going to actually be able to go into real movement in your life now. And the decree came about, there's she's successful, she's intuitive, she's heart-based. And she does a lot of work, and you would never guess because she's in business. But you'd never guess how much spiritual work she does and how dedicated she is to awakening consciousness on earth. And her connection to the heart of God is absolute in reverence. And she felt that something was blocking her and that she was fed up with people pleasing and always being asked to sacrifice herself or to be helpful and pleasing. She felt that there was a deep interference that she could not name. And this decree is what came about. So the Voodoo Doll Spells Decree. So we found out after her decree from her higher self, only source aligned, as a light worker, 150,000 women were freed from just this one decree. So 5D is we are all one. So as one heals, many heal. And that's Mary. I do the quantum connectors with Mary. She's doing her master's degree, so she's needed a break, but that's the line, that's one of her favorite lines. And then what came up, what information came forward is in the Louvre, there is a small clay figure of a naked woman who's kneeling, hands bound, with 13 bronze needles inside the doll body in the Louvre. Okay, so she was found in a sealed jar in Roman Egypt with a 28-line Greek spell. So it was the doll, the 13 needles, and then actually a written spell. And it was commissioned by a man named Sarapammon, Sarapammon. And basically the story was that she said no. She said no to Sarapammon, and he didn't want to accept it. So he commissioned a spell. And so that she would only have eyes for him and only total dedication to him. So you saw the needles were like through the eyes, the mouth, the throat, the heart, you get the gist all over, basically 13 needles going straight through. So the contents of the jar are called a defixio, Defixio. And it's a Roman binding curse. A Roman binding curse. Not off, with the witches. No, it's with the men. A Roman binding curse. And so you might think that it's rare, but it is not. And not we, the royal we, but 1,500 of them have survived from that time frame that we know of. And they're not just about relationships when a woman says no, but also about stolen property and money. So lying, cheating, stealing, right? The dark triad, their favorite trio. So it just sounds like exactly what's happening today. So if it isn't about controlling somebody, then it's about lying, it's about cheating, and it's about stealing. And that sums up 3D. The dark triad, the psychopath, sociopath, narcissist, and then in modern times, they're also called the Draco reptilians and the reptilians, right? But who cares about the names? What is most important are seeing the dynamics. So the dynamics are the most important. It's not about us or them, it's about frequency. It's about stabilizing your frequency and consciousness. So the war really is on consciousness. The war is, we are told, it's all like the horizontal of the 3D, where there's all this tumbling of war fighting, over money, people, the usual trio: money, lying, cheating, and stealing. That's the horizontal. Okay. And then consciousness is the vertical. So we're connecting with the vertical, we're connecting with consciousness so that we can clear out the horizontal of the 3D for ourselves, right? We're not here to, impose ourselves on anybody else. So this decree is for the defixio. I wrote it deficient. It's kind of like funny, like little mistake, but is it a mistake? Because ultimately it is deficient. It's like I don't trust that somebody would fall in love with me, that I would actually need to cast a spell to make sure that they do. And I've had people in their while doing their decrees that they've gotten bribes, to not say certain things or to not do that decree. So, energetic bribes from the dark triad. Because many of the people that come see me, they're light workers, or they're seers. They hear, smell, taste, know, and they're able to, they receive information from their higher self and source consciousness, like the regular, like it's the regular. So the contents of the jar, they're called the defixio, so the Roman binding curse. Okay, so that is what we're focusing on in this decree. And it's for the removal of the voodoo doll spells, known or unknown, in any time, space, dimension. And we're going to the root cause. Okay? Phew, like it's intense. And this isn't the witches in the corner. No, this was a Roman binding curse. The sophisticated leaders, they were creating these voodoo doll spells for control, for manipulation. Sound familiar? Sound very 3D. But this decree has come just in time. And so if it resonates, you'll know. In case. Thanks for being here.